Hello, beautiful. I'm your host, Nicole Goff. Welcome to the Ecstatic Life Podcast, the podcast for women who want it all: health, wealth, freedom, authenticity, love, beauty, all of the hidden gems just waiting to be uncovered. This is the podcast for women who are ready to discover their inner creatrix, to discover their inner manifester, and who want to find the ecstatic in every day. Hi, and welcome back to the Ecstatic Life Podcast. I am here again with Shellbe Cucuel. I'm so happy to have you back.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I love doing this. I forget how much I love it until I get on with you, and then I'm like, why don't we do this every day?
I know, right? It's been a little while.
I know.
Yeah, so I'm glad you agreed to come on and talk about this subject particularly because we are here to talk about sisterhood, and who better to talk about it with than my sister over here. So
You are such a great friend. You're such a great friend. And even though I just want to say we don't spend a lot of time together, we've connected so deeply, so quickly, and you're so good at always checking in with me and kicking me in the ass and keeping me motivated, and you're a really great friend. So I'm very happy to talk to you about this. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying
I mean
that.
it.
Well, I mean, that brings me to like top of subject here, which is I really want to dive into the sister wound and healing the sister wound, because part of this, like being like a girl's girl now, is because I have been working super hard to heal my sister wound, and it has become just one of like the most important things for me to develop these deep, meaningful female friendships, to develop sisterhood with other women. Really, you know, it started when I had my first daughter. That's when I suddenly was like, oh my gosh, I have no friends. And now I'm a mom with this little baby. Yeah, and I'm like, what do I do with this little baby? And I have nobody. Because, I mean, just, you know my history, but for the audience, a little history. When I was in my early teens, I was raped by a boy that we went to high school with, that me and Shellbe went to high school with. And he was a popular football playing senior. And I, at the time, was a freshman coming from homeschooling and was, you know, kind of a weird kid, I guess. Anyways, I had a lot of friends.
No. I'm going to stop you right there. Don't put this shit on you. No. Homeschool kids aren't weird. You are not weird. I remember you. Don't make this that you were weird.
I was in my goth phase. I'll put it that way.
Oh, that's right. You were totally weird.
I was. I mean, you know, I think we all go through it, like 13, 14. Yeah. I was in my goth phase.
I forgot. Sorry, Nicole.
Decidedly a little weird.
Yeah. Okay, that kind of weird. I thought you were attaching it to the thing that happened, and I was like, no.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Maybe my innocence and like not knowing red flags when I see them, thinking everybody's nice when they have bad intentions. But yeah, so I had like this core group of girlfriends. And after that happened, and my parents pressed charges, I became very, very unpopular. And they all dropped me. They all came to me collectively and they were like, hey, we love you, girl, but we can't be seen in public with you anymore. You're like social kryptonite. And it opened up.
I have so many things to say, but we've already, that's a different episode to the audience. Stay tuned for that. That's a different episode.
Yeah, which has already been recorded. But yeah, I mean, it just ripped open this massive sister wound for me. You know, to be already like I was in such a hard place, and then to literally have my core group of girlfriends for the last couple of years that like we were like the clique, the crew, just were like, sorry, honey, we gotta like slowly back away from you. Except for my friend Cassandra. She was like the only chick that ever like stuck it out with me, and she's like my sister. Like we literally call each other sisters, sister from another mister. So but yeah, and I had a bit of a trying relationship with my mom, and a lot of times these sister wounds also can originate with our relationship with our mother. My mom was always a bit harsh and critical. Like, I know she loves me and it always came from a place of love, but she had a tendency to say mean things to me sometimes. And so I think that just like further really just, solidified that women can't be trusted. And
Our parents set the foundation.
yeah,
I
yep.
mean, that's just the way it is. Whether we like it or not, whether they like it or not, whether they want to admit it or anything, or we as parents, we know that, which is why we do a lot of this work, right? Because we have daughters, we have children. So,
Yep.
yep. So that's the
Yep.
foundation.
Yeah, and we have daughters, and we know, and we're working so hard
Hmm.
to stop that, generational pattern. Because, I mean, to be honest, women for years have had it programmed in them to be more harsh and be more in their masculine, and we have we've really not grown up with as much nurturance and
Hmm.
love and softness, I think, as we need. So, and I love my mom and we're friends now, but yeah, there was a lot of harshness, and I think that affected me in a lot of ways too. So I kind of developed this idea in my teens and in my 20s, that women can't be trusted, and it wasn't safe to have female friends, and that this idea that, oh, I get along with guys better, guys are just straightforward, and like there's no
Yeah.
drama, and I went to hair school. You're a hairdresser too, and
Hmm.
you said you know how it is in hair school, and that just
Hmm.
even further solidified it.
Yeah.
I worked in
Yeah.
a salon, and I was in hair school, and I was like, oh, so many catty bitches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
uh,
Definitely.
so I actually
Definitely.
dropped
I got
out.
lucky. I got lucky because the longest salon I ever worked at was with two older gay men. So that was just great
Mm,
because it was catty, but it was funny, and all the clientele was a little bit older. So I was like the sweet young hairstylist over there in my 30s. They're like, "Oh, honey, you're just so wonderful." So I got to skip that like catty bitch salon experience. I got lucky. So go work with some gay men. They're the best.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, no, I was 18 when I was in hair school, and I got almost all of my hours, and then I had an issue with somebody else there, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to work with you people, and I dropped out and started tattooing. Started working in a
Yeah.
tattoo shop instead
All
with a bunch of
right.
men. I
Yeah.
was like the only woman in there, so that was comfortable, and that's the way it was
Yeah.
for years. And then I became a mom, and I realized I had no friends. I had no female circle, you know, and I realized that was important. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's been very much a journey to reconnect with women and to heal that sister wound, and to find my way back to being in trusting relationship with other women. And part of that has been like, our reconnection and doing workshops, and just getting out there, doing these things in group with women, collaborating with women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been so fulfilling. It's really become one of the most important things in my life. So
Yeah, and you're so great at it. I mean, you really keep it alive. Within our Sisterhood Circle on our Telegram, you and I started that together, and you're so great about keeping everybody on their toes, and like, and what I mean is reconnecting. It's like we all talk for a couple days, and then it kind of goes silent, and then you pop up, and you're like, "Hey guys, still here." So I love that consistency from you. I really appreciate it, and I think that as far as us reconnecting, I think that's been a really beautiful thing because I think we had a lot to talk about because I was there in high school with you. I was a senior, so I knew everything, but I didn't really know you because you were a lot younger than me. So I think that it's kind of like an outsider's perspective to talk about that from another woman who saw you. And then I have other friends that also were there and have had things to say to you about that in a more loving way. So, it's beautiful that that has come together for you.
yeah, it has been really nice, the feedback I've gotten. And I think that was part of my journey to go
Hmm.
through that, and to feel that deep aloneness in that way. And, so in a way, I'm grateful that I wasn't like saved from that, because it would have
Hmm.
been awesome to have you as like a big sister.
Yeah.
I don't have any, I
Yeah.
don't have any biological sisters, but to have
Yeah.
you as a big sister to come in and like protect me. But I think it was part of the journey,
Hmm.
because now there's just been such a a huge reclamation for me of it. And I realize I can really appreciate how important it is,
Yeah.
especially for us as mothers. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, women in general, but for mothers, it's like necessity. It's like we aren't supposed to do this alone. We
Right.
aren't supposed to be in isolation without a support network raising tiny humans. It's, you know, we're supposed to have a tribe around us.
Absolutely. And that's something that where you and I connect a lot on different, as far as our businesses, we're like a little bit different angles in our coaching and things like that. And I always say that that's why I started Vital Roots and it's empowered motherhood, because I am lucky to have a sister, a biological sister, and then a best friend of 30 something years and a couple other really great friends around me. So when when I was pregnant, I had my daughter at 39. So I was an older mom. I had my best friends around me that already had natural childbirth, that already made all these decisions about having a holistic experience with their babies and their birthing experiences. So I had that, and I realized that so many women do not have that. So that's why I created my whole business platform, my whole, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, the Vital Roots, because I want to share that. I want to be that mom that you call me. Just yesterday, I had my neighbor called and said, "Do you have a minute to talk?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" She's like, "My daughter has this strange rash all over her face." So my sister and I are having dinner together. We immediately stopped making dinner. We're FaceTiming with her. We're like, "What do you think it is? Have you tried this? Blah, blah, blah." And I am so honored to be that person that she calls, you know? It felt so
Yeah.
good. So that's why creating that circle, because we are reaching out saying, "Hey, we're here. We don't want you to be alone," because especially mothers should not be alone. We really
Yeah.
need each other. There's so many big decisions to make, or little ones, that feel big in the moment.
Yeah,
So
just the
it's good.
little day-to-day stuff. We should have other women there like elbow to elbow like, "Hey, is this normal? Am I being crazy like or
Yeah.
is this a problem?" Like we should
Yeah.
be able to have that. That's one of the things, you know, I've been doing homeschool cooperatives for many years and you know, I've got this big cooperative that I run now and we're like 32 families strong or something now. Like
Wow.
I know we've like doubled in size this year. Like everybody's coming to homeschooling, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But to have that, like, you know, all the mamas, like, you know, they're sharing these ideas and it's so important, that community. And we're really blessed that we have the technology now because
Hmm.
one generation before us, you know, didn't have that. We didn't have these online forums. You know, we didn't have this ability. It was just starting to develop, but it wasn't like it is now with social media and, you
Yeah.
know, just all these online apps. I mean, on your phone, like the fact that we can get on WhatsApp and Telegram and whatever and just have these, you know, immediate access to women who can give advice and like share, you know, recipes or tinctures or, you know, whatever it is to
Yeah.
like help us out. The fact that we can create the sister circle and just boom have access like that is amazing because back when I had my first daughter, like that was like MySpace days,
Yeah. And
right?
that was
I
not
was
for
like,
sharing recipes.
no, it was like I think I had maybe had just joined Facebook. That was like when Facebook was like just kind of coming out. It was
Hmm.
like kind of for college kids. It
Hmm.
was like it wasn't the way it is now.
No.
And so like when you know, when I went out there, I'm like, okay, how do I use this? How do I find moms groups? You know,
Hmm.
like having to like learn
Yeah.
this new technology. How do I
Yeah.
find other moms? But before that, where did you go? I mean, your local library, like your local coffee shop?
Well, and we're saying before that, like, I don't know, in the 80s, 70s,
Yeah, our moms.
because before that, not too long before that, really, on a big scale, not too long before that, we were more communal, right? The moms
Mm-hmm.
did get together. So I think, and I'm like hesitating because I'm like, I don't know, what was it like in the 50s and 60s? But or like in the 70s, the hippie era, 60s and 70s, it seemed like maybe the moms were together more. And then that got pulled apart more in the 80s. I don't know. When I moved to Florida in 92, we were homeschooled and there were no homeschool children around us, which is why we went to public school. I didn't know you at the time because you were, I don't know, what, 10 minutes away from me. I just didn't know. um,
I know,
but
and homeschooled.
we, yeah, I know. I don't know how our parents couldn't have just connected and we could have skipped a lot of this
Well,
shit. But
but that's
then we
the
wouldn't have a
point. Like
podcast.
they didn't have Facebook.
Right, right, right. So maybe that's why, how did they connect? Because that's what moms were still getting together. I don't know. I don't know. But
Yeah.
speaking of like the internet and things that we have, I know that I'm sorry for messing up her name right now, but your friend in Australia, we're on a podcast
Karen.
together. Yes. I mean, you've never met her in person, right? Right.
Nope.
And she's wonderful. I love talking to her. And Jocelyn Dawn has become one of my greatest friends. And she's my business coach, and she lives in Costa Rica. But I reach out to her all the time. We always stay connected, and we have this really awesome bond. After I had her on the podcast, I was like, we need to be best friends. Probably never going to meet in person, but I just love her energy so much. So that's so amazing that we're able to pull that together.
Yeah, and my friend Kelly Love, who,
Mm-hmm,
we've
mm-hmm.
done trades on our podcast. She's in Costa Rica also. And, yeah, I feel like I've developed a close bond to her. And like I look to her for stuff. I've done her
Yeah.
courses, and, it's amazing that we can have that sisterhood with women all over the world now. And I would like to plan a Costa Rica trip, just
Mm-hmm.
FYI. It's in
Yeah.
the works.
Just and I'm probably going with you because you can talk me into a lot of shit.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, you can. I was ecstatic dancing a couple weeks ago, and I was like, Nicole told me to show up. Here I am, and it was
Well, you
fun.
know what? That brings me to a really good point. So about healing the sister wound and about
Mm-hmm.
coming together, and dance has been a really big part of that too, because dance is such a feminine thing. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think our bodies just naturally as women, they want to move in that way. They want to have things expressed through them, and so I have found ecstatic dance particularly to just be such a beautiful outlet for that creative energy that wants to flow through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also very healing because there's something about the female gaze. And this was one of the biggest woundings for me, that the female gaze fell upon me in very harsh ways. And that began with my mom, who would make comments about, me like dressing slutty or, something like that. It's like my too muchness, stop being so much, and
Mm-hmm.
then the same thing in high school. It was very much like Nicole's bad. There was that very judgmental female gaze was upon me, and I carried that very hard. Very heavy in my body, and it in a lot of ways did not inhibit my expression because I've always been very outwardly expressive, but I know it dampened my light in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And so to be in the under the female gaze in a supportive way, to have other women witnessing you in your becoming in some way, in your expression, in an ecstatic dance, you just
Mm-hmm.
move however your body wants to move. And sometimes I get super weird and I just let it all out and
But
whatever,
no
crawl
one's
around on
looking
the
at you.
floor. No, nobody is looking at you judgmentally.
Right,
They
right,
might
right.
they might look, but that's to have that female gaze, and that's something I've worked with. That's something I've worked with in the ecstatic dances, is to really like not feel judged, knowing that that person that is viewing me, that she is not judging me, and to not bring that into it has been very healing. Um,
It made me actually, when I would look around, it made me come out of my shell, so to speak, a little bit more. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
she really doesn't give a fuck over there. And so I'm going to go ahead and just open up a little bit more, because at first you're like staying in your box. And then
yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, people are really like letting it. I mean, it was my first one, so to me, when I looked around, that's what it did for me. It made me push myself outside the limit a little bit more, or outside of my comfort zone.
Being able to be like free in your expression under the female gaze, and it being like an encouraging, like a woman looking on another woman and encouragement and like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like go get it, girl,
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
so empowering. And I feel like so many of us have just spent so much time in judgment, and being
Mm-hmm.
judgmental. Like how dare she wear that outfit? Like, doesn't she know that those shorts are too short? And
Mm-hmm.
like, there's so much time that we spend in this criticism and in this judgment, and to step away from that personally, like the shit talking, which is,
Mm-hmm.
it's a part of female bonding in a lot of ways in our
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
but then to also like revel in the spaces where other women can really see you and celebrate your, bigness has just been so healing for me.
Oh, just like the little things that we do for each other, just you and I personally. It's like that you like my posts. It seems so fucking trivial, but we put so much time and energy into these things that we do. I mean, I'm over here on Canva making a recipe thing this morning, and I'm like, the color is fine, just post it, And then next thing I know, like you've liked it or you've shared it, and that to me, that's where we are in life right now, with social media. But that supportiveness, and then it blows my mind how many of the people I thought would be doing that aren't.
Yeah.
And that is surprising. It's like, I thought, yeah, I'll just leave that there. Like that surprises me. So, that support, and that I'm proud of you. Wow. This is awesome. You did it takes 2 seconds. I'm so proud of you for doing this, for putting ourselves out there. So more of that.
Yeah. I think so many of us are so wrapped up in our own day to day, especially as moms. It's just we get so wrapped up in it that we aren't seeing the big picture. And that is part of the reason I wanted to, really start developing these female spaces like the Sister Circle, and like doing these events that we're doing, these right now online events, but I'm really hoping, we've got it in the works to do an in person, but to gather together and support each other to create this, like, we've done trades within that circle of like trading coaching. And one of the women in the circle that I've traded coaching with, it's been like absolutely mind-blowing the results each of us have gotten in these like free trade sessions. And we're just doing it to like support each other, but it's like it's been like so healing and boosting for both of us. And there's just been all these little magical things that have happened, not just in that, but in the homeschool co-op, in these, I've been doing workshops for the past about 6 years, little, local community workshops. And in those circles, it's like just those little magical moments that can happen when women come together and share in that way.
Yeah. And we have gifts. Everyone does, but I'm just speaking of us right now. And the woman that you're speaking of that you've been sharing with, Lisa, probably, right? She's awesome. I'm just going to go ahead and throw her name out there. Why not name drop Lisa right now? Because I need to follow up with her about also doing a trade. But to be able to trade these gifts that we have, because we've obviously gotten very passionate about what we're doing and what we're into. So, like with my apothecary, it has been so amazing to build this website with all of these things that I've collected and gathered. And so when I'm having a random conversation with one of my volleyball moms and they're like, I'd love to have that electrolyte recipe, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send that right over to you. And I go to my website and I send it to her, and then she has access to all this. And it's like, I just want to share it. Like, I want to give this to you because I want you to drink electrolytes. I want your kid to not, be on Tylenol all the time or whatever. Like, I just love to share that. So being supportive of each other and going back and forth. And it's nice to be able to, I don't know why I just thought exercise our talents, but that was the word that came to mind. Oh, that sounds a little witchery, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. That's all welcome here.
Yeah, that's cool. Exercise our gifts.
Yeah. Well, and to gift too. Like, I think that's another part of it, like being of service, right?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. That's the energy, being of service.
So back to the sisterhood wound, how would you, maybe if a listener doesn't quite understand that, because I think when you first said that to me, I was like, what does that mean? And I've gotten it as we've talked about it more, but what does that mean to you? Like, I don't know if a definition's the right word, but can you share what that means? I don't know if you could put it in a sentence.
I could, and actually I could read you the definition. Maybe
oh, good. All right. I thought I was putting you on the spot there.
I actually have it right here.
Oh, well, conveniently located.
Conveniently located.
Sorry, I underestimated you.
I know. I love notes. The sister wound is the internalized pain, mistrust, and dis-ease women feel in their relationships with other women, stemming from societal conditioning and patriarchal systems that pit them against each other. This manifests as jealousy, insecurity, competition, judgments, and a reluctance to form deep bonds with other women, hindering true sisterhood.
Very nice. There you go.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
You know,
we
go ahead, please.
No, you go ahead.
I want you to go off on that before I go off on a tangent about my sisterhood stuff. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that this manifests a lot of times. You see it more strongly with adolescents. You know, that's like that's where a lot of this starts, and you know, a lot of jealousy and competition, a lot to do with like boys and how you dress and the judgment of, you know, that's kind of the most salient, I think. And workplace competition too. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of women, I'm, you know, not in the workforce and haven't been in the workforce to really experience that, except in my early years of like serving, bartending and stuff like that. But there was more sisterhood, I think, in that.
Yeah.
But there's definitely in more like the corporate world and everything. Very much that, you know, I have to make myself above you. I have to get ahead by pushing you down. And so that's really, I think it's women being in competition with each other for social status, for, you know, hierarchy at work, you know, whatever it is, being in competition with each other and dimming the other woman's light, trying to get ahead. And that's like, that competitiveness is very masculine, and it doesn't serve women. Women thrive in connection, in cooperation, in circle. And so I think it's really, really damaging for us as women to be in that kind of, you know, competitive environment.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the reasons. There's many reasons why I'm homeschooling my daughter, but that's one of the main points is the bullying at school, and that competitiveness. And you know, I have four nieces, so there's five girls altogether, ages 3 to 9, and we're constantly on them about how to communicate, how to treat each other. And so I'm hoping that they will be confident in themselves when they go out into a space. And so I'm watching this happen a little bit with my niece in playing volleyball, because both of my nieces now or two of them are playing, and I coach, my sister and I coach, because we want to be on top of the situation, right? Because we're like, okay, we're throwing you out here. Because anything can be said at any time to a young person. And a coach, a lot of people are like, oh, my coach told me I was, you know, a loser one time, and that stuck with me forever, or whatever, you know? I watch how, I'm going to speak of the 9-year-old first, how she is on the court with the other girls. All the other kids go to public school. And I'm just observing how she is. And she's so much more, which could be a lot of her personality, but she's so much more just like, we're having a good time out here. Like, I don't really care. I'll sit the bench if you need me to. Again, she might not be like overly competitive, and she's just having fun. But I'm really paying attention to how the other girls treat her and things like that. Because, I mean, it's been fine, but it was just that just sparked a topic of why we homeschool. Because we're not subjecting that. Because and I know that you and I've talked about this, when I was put into public school in 8th grade, that was, if someone says, how was that? Kids were fucking mean. That's the first thing I would say. Then we could talk about curriculum afterwards. We could talk about teachers. We could talk about time, all that stuff. But the kids were mean. I couldn't believe the girls, the cool girls, the not cool girls. I'm like, the racism. I'm like, where the hell do I fit in here? Like, does anybody just want to hang out? I thought we were supposed to have like sleepovers, and it wasn't like that at all. And I don't think I will say I have one best friend from high school that was pretty consistent all the way through, one or two. But I never really fit into a group in high school. That was something that, and maybe there's some sisterhood wounds. There we go. We could talk about, I'm like, let me dig some of this stuff up, because I never really knew where I fit in, and the kids were just mean. So I'm hoping to save my child from a lot of that. And by the time she gets into, like, say, a workplace or, you know, some type of extracurricular activity that she's doing, she feels secure enough in herself.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, that was my experience as well. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe that, and that would be the first thing I say too. I couldn't believe how mean kids were.
Hmm.
I didn't understand coming from being homeschooled, and I was in eighth grade also when I got put in. Well, when I chose, my mom hates
Yeah.
it when I say got put in because it was my
Yeah.
choice. I was like, Mom, I want friends. I want to go to public school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I did. I had like a homeschool co op, but at a certain point, it was like, there were like two girls my age in it, and I
It was
wanted to
so
expand
different
my
then.
social network. It was, and so I went in eighth grade also, and it was the same. It was just like, why are people so mean to each other?
Hmm.
And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that, and luckily I didn't grow up with that. Luckily I didn't, have that indoctrination, which I see like my niece and other kids that I know that are, in the public school system. It's like it's an
From
indoctrination.
day
It's
one.
mean girl club. Who's cool, who's not. Yeah,
And then
it's
that's,
sad.
not to get too deep into that, but why are they acting that way? It's There's some insecurity, and I'm so interested in children and why they are the way they are. Like all the kids on my volleyball team, I'm like, I wonder why she acts like that. What's the family like? And I'm like, just be the coach. Don't be so nosy. But I'm just want to nurture and like go, how can I best coach you? Because I really want to make a difference in these kids' life. And fortunately, I did enough. I say we because my sister and I are doing it together. We did enough because all the girls from last year all want to be on our team this year, and some of the mothers even said they're not going to play if you're not coaching them, which was such an honor. But why there was this one little girl who was specifically like, I could see the bully in there, like she was like trying, but I was on her, and it's insecurity. So why does she
Hmm.
feel insecure to go out and do this, and who's putting her in that cool group? um I just find all that so interesting looking back at high school and who these people turned out to be. It's like, who made you
Yeah.
so freaking cool, Because I think the band kids they probably turned out to be probably the coolest because they all play instruments and they're probably jamming at parties. You know what I mean? Yet they were put into this category that if you're a band kid, you're a nerd. Like, why is that already there? So then we have the
Yep.
meanness. And if you're an athlete, you're this. And it's just already written. I don't. So all of that's already set up in the public school system, private too. I mean, just school.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Hierarchy and
yeah.
the merit based system, and
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot. I mean, that's probably a whole subject for a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But it definitely does a disservice to girls.
Yeah.
It definitely does a disservice to girls. And I think another thing is there aren't good role models.
Hmm.
There aren't good female role models, and there aren't women who are guiding. One thing that I've had, my 10-year-old do this summer is she went to a rose tint group, which is for girls that are coming of age.
Yeah.
And so you think like the traditional, bleeding tents, the bleeding
Hmm.
huts that,
Hmm.
they would go to. They have
Yeah.
to be shunned when they're on their periods, right? Which I would like, I would be loving that. Like,
Yeah.
can
Right.
we please bring that back? Like, can me
I'm
and all my
like,
friends, like,
actually, today I can't make it. I'm out for a week.
yeah, sorry, I can't cook. I'm sullied. I'm sullied.
Yeah.
I gotta go in the
Oh,
tent.
sounds awful.
Can't do the dishes.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, we had these things like built into society, and there were these coming of age rituals. We had rites of passage, and for girls, like this menarche, the first period, the first bleed was super important, and it was a rite of passage into womanhood that was celebrated in most cultures, in most traditions. And now it's this weird, taboo, gross, really usually traumatizing experience for
Hmm.
girls, where they don't have mothers and aunties and whatever there to celebrate them and lift them up and make it this special rite of passage. Instead, they like are alone in the school locker rooms, like getting their period for the first time, being embarrassed because they bled
Yeah.
in their pants, and it's this huge like shame.
And they
Womanhood
started
is
before their
shame.
friends, or and then
Yep.
it becomes a
Yeah.
status thing, right? I'm sure it's like, oh, well, I started my period already. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you were just like really upset about it like last week, but now you're cooler because you have boobs and you've started, because they're so confused. They don't even know what this
Yep.
means. So where can someone like myself find out more information on that, or how to like have a ceremony like that?
Well,
Because I have a
locally,
9-year-old niece. Like that's,
yeah,
well,
locally, Amber Melendi, who has been on my podcast, we talked about human design together, and she is the one that locally in Gainesville, Florida, hosts the Rose Tents, and she has a website. I think it's Rose Tent something. I could link it in the
yeah.
show notes,
Okay.
but yeah, Amber Melendi with the Rose Tent, and this is a coming of age group for girls, and I think she hosts this every summer. It's like a 6-week workshop or whatever, where they get together and they don't just talk about, periods and, practical stuff, but it's also about like energy and working with energy and things like that. So it's really cool. I think in general, though, as mothers, like as I was saying in the very beginning, a lot of these sister wounds come from mother wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it really like behooves us to take it upon ourselves to give this kind of nurturance and guidance to our daughters. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that with my first, and she's like still she reminds me all the time, like she holds it against me. She's like, I didn't get like a special like period basket and like minarch celebration and like man. But
Oh,
I didn't know about that stuff then.
yeah. Give me a
uh
break.
my sister wound was still like rocking back then, sorry honey.
Right. Right.
But now like for her 10-year-old sister, she's super excited to like be to be in that big sister role of like teaching her about these things, about coming into your body and your feelings and these changes and embracing it. And she wants to be there to help her celebrate when she has her first bleed and comes into womanhood.
Yeah.
And so like guiding that process so that the mother wound isn't established, the sister wounds aren't established in that early age, where it's not like as I don't know about for you, but for me, it was the same. It was like the shame. Like I started my first bleed. I was at a public poetry reading. I was like reading poetry like publicly, and it was like so much like shame and embarrassment, and I didn't really understand what it was like. I was 11. I was young too, so it was like no idea what was going on. And I think for most of us, that's how it is. And it's this like private thing we have to hide and, to feel weird and gross about. Mm-hmm. And so that right there, like that's your first iteration into womanhood. That's your mm-hmm. first step into your womanhood. And, to be shamed about it, to feel that shame is like very wounding in and of itself, I think.
Well, and I think you could start with, just because I asked advice for mothers listening. I personally am very open with it with my daughter. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just her and I living in a little RV. So, but not, I mean, even if it wasn't, I'm very open with her, and she's like, what's going on? Why is it that? Da, da, da. I'm like, this is what happens, So she's like seen it all. She's right there in the bathroom with me. And I think that's one thing, is not making it a private thing, not, and I would think about some of my friends that always have these little like pouches with their tampons in it in the bathroom underneath the counter. And I always just had like stuff laying out, my cups on the counter or whatever. However, I've been in mostly same-sex relationships, so I don't think it was such a like, you kind of want to hide that from your boyfriend or your husband, where in our world it was just like somebody's on their period most of the month, right? So TMI. But
no, I was just thinking about myself personally, because I don't use anything but like cloth napkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're always like 1 week out of the month, they're always just like sitting on the bathroom counter. So well, TMI.
because it's fucking happening. Like,
yes.
Do not make me feel gross, because like literally I am shedding my uterus right now. I feel like crap or whatever. I mean, hopefully you don't feel too bad on your period. But, like, this is happening to my body. I didn't choose this. This isn't something that I was just like, you know what I want to do today? I want to get real nasty. So, and then that carries over into, so be open with your daughters about it and make it, normalize it because it's normal. And then that carries over into pregnancy and childbirth, right? We've had lots of talks about that. And, so then here you are, you need to rest for the 40 days. You need to allow yourself to recover, and you need to bleed on your chuck pad naked on your bed and not feel that's a whole other emotion when you're like, oh, I'm sorry. Do you mind, sister, mother, friend, taking this truck pad and like getting rid of it? I know it's covered in blood. Like, come on, you know? So that
Yeah.
carries through womanhood all the way. So it's just this cycle. But don't, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say circle.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah.
So I think being more open with it and
Yeah.
not hiding it from your daughters, I think would be a really good start. And then that creates that bond with you and your daughter too, right? It's
Yep.
like, hey, you and I are the only ones going through this. And you know, I mean, not dad is what I mean.
Well, yeah, it's you and I and your sister and your sister.
Totally,
and your
totally.
sister.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have
In my
a
house.
lot of girls. Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of periods pretty soon.
Yeah. Holy moly. Yeah. So I think that would be a good start.
So I have a question as someone who doesn't have a biological sister that I grew up with. I have 4 girls, so lots of sisters. I'm sure that there are ways that sister wound starts with our actual biological sisters, and that is something I'm not so familiar with. I'm familiar with it in the sense of what happens with our female friendships and the social situations and all of that, but in a home where you have sisters growing up together, living together, I know there is, depending on how the parents interact with you, competition and oh, one's the good sister and one's the bad sister, or, whatever. I wish you were more like your sister. I know this kind of stuff happens. Is there anything you can speak to on that? Like, I know you said you were raised in, very close to your sister. So what did your parents do right to create that? Because that's something I think about a lot. Like, I don't want to create competition with my girls. I don't want them to be like fighting, and it breaks my heart when they fight with each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you for asking that question, because that is something that's really important. My sister and I talk about it a lot with our daughters, because within the 5, we don't want that to happen, with them. So I will say that my parents, I'm very fortunate to have a very good relationship with my sister. My parents both did a really great job of breaking generational trauma. They both grew up with, it wasn't just like, no home is perfect, but they didn't come from mothers that were, very loving and nurturing and there for them. They created that. My parents created that home for us. And I think they were very successful at that because they took us off on a boat and we went to the islands. So there was just the 4 of us. And so I think that's a huge part of it, is we relied on each other a lot. Like, we can't be fighting and bickering. I mean, we live on a 25-foot sailboat or a 40-foot sailboat at the time. It's like we need each other. We also rely on each other. It takes 2 of us to take the boat out to do something. Like, we had to do that. And as far as parenting, my parents always said, you 2 are the best friends you're ever going to have. This is it. You 2 are going to have this bond. It almost makes me cry thinking about it, because we are. But anyways, squeaky voice. So they were very adamant about telling us that, and they didn't let us argue. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, and it does sound crazy as a parent, but like, you're not allowed to talk to your sister that way. You're just not allowed. You cannot treat her like that. You have to include her. My sister's 4 years younger than me. I always included her. And then when her and her best friend became friends, I scooped her up like a little sister until this day. I mean, 30-something years later, I always say I have 2 sisters because she is like a sister. So they went everywhere with me, every high school party. But I think the foundation is just, my dad would say, look at each other. Look who that is. That's your whole world. When mom and I are gone one day, that's who's going to be there. And, oh, I'll be damned. We've had some health stuff with our parents the past couple of years, and I could not imagine going through that without my sister. I mean, I have friends. You were there for me for my mom a little while ago. Totally like, what can I do to help? And that's amazing. But my sister's like, it's also, you share a responsibility. So it's like, bitch, get to the hospital. Like, I can't sit here all night. I have to go home. So, but we respected each other and relied on each other so much. And, and then I think that as far as like the good daughter, the bad daughter, whatever. So fast forward into our 20s, my sister homeschooled for high school. And then she went off to sail the islands with my parents, because after I graduated and after my sister was done, they went back to the boat life. So my sister went with them. and which was fine. I was in my early 20s. I was in relationships and moving all around and stuff. But their bond got really close. So we've actually talked about this recently because their bond was very close, and like any boaters out there know this. There's a boater lingo that everyone kind of uses, and it's kind of like, you're using all the boater terms like, oh, the port side, starboard side, you're sitting athwart ship, we're going to grab the line, it's not a rope, blah, 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 all the lingo. I didn't know a lot of that. Even though I grew up on the boat, I had been off the boat for 10, 15 years at that point, I guess. And so my sister was like the cool one, She had a hot husband or boyfriend at the time. They sailed around on their boat together next to my parents. So it was like them and then me. And here I am over here, like, I'm a lesbian, not doing the things that they were doing, And I don't, there were some issues. We'll just put it that way. It was different. I never had bad things. I mean, I was a hairstylist. I always worked a bunch of jobs. Like, I was good, but I wasn't living the same exact dream that they were. And that was hard for a while. So fast forward into, 40s, we're unpacking some of that shit now. So then it turns around during COVID, I come and live with my parents with my new baby, and we get really close. And now my sister feels like she's on the outside. So we kind of had a switcheroo of that. And none of it obviously was intentional. The other ones were like, I didn't even know you felt that way. But there was definitely a long time in my 20s where I was like, my sister's the favorite, obviously. Look at her. She's doing everything that, is expected. And so I bought a boat and I went sailing. And I learned the fucking lingo. And then I looked down upon those landlubbers that did not speak the language. But I did. And I actually went through a breakup during that process of being on a boat. And I'm actually healing from some of that trauma recently, because we talked about how I was coming into myself and needing so much from my parents and my sister to be accepted into this boater world. I lost my relationship in the process. Because that was me going, hey, look at me. I know how to do this now. Look, I know how to run a boat. Look, I know how to. And so there was that. And there's no blame on that. There's no blame. It's just the teeter-totter of sisterhood. Mm-hmm.
It highlights the need to be accepted for women, though. Because I think that's where a lot of this stems. It's like a life or death. It's an existential crisis for us. If we're not accepted into the heart of the family and into the heart of the tribe when we become mothers, like, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Right? This is thousands of years of programming where if you aren't, that's why we have that social conditioning. That's why we are people pleasers. That's why we're caretakers. That's why we want to make sure everybody feels good and happy and likes us. And it's because if we were cast out, us and our babies are eaten.
Yeah.
Fed to the lions. So it's actually an existential crisis for us. So when you're feeling like, oh, they like my sister more, like she's on the inside and I'm on the outside, that is like a life or death situation in our nervous systems, in our ancient primal bodies. We're like, oh shit, I'm going to have a baby and it's going to get eaten by a lion.
Yeah. That's real shit. And I think that having my advice to parents with daughters would just always remind them, like, this is who is always going to have your back. One day when you're out at a party or you're somewhere, like, your sister's going to have your back. So you better treat her good and love each other. Like, this is the core. And I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Like, that was a must in our home. We had to love each other and respect each other. And even through everything that I just talked about, my sister and I never lost the connection. All through that, we never lost the connection. We feel each other, like, we know we joke that we have this twin thing, because it's like that intuition, like, are you okay? I know you're not okay. And then we bug the shit out of each other. We can't be mad at each other. We can't go to bed without texting each other. Even if I'm mad, I'm like, I love you. Good night. I hope you had a wonderful day. And then she's like, I love you too, blah, blah, blah. Like, we have to do that because it is so ingrained in us. And that I will give all of that credit to our parents, because they just made sure that was important. And my mom didn't have a great relationship with her younger sister. She tried, but she had a lot of things, so I think that was something that was really important to her too, to like make sure that we were super, super close. And then we teach our girls to not be cliquey. And since you have 4 daughters, it's like, hey guys, don't be cliquey when you go out. Like, this girl wants to come into your circle, let them in. Because my sister and best friend and I, when we get together, we've been told we're cliquey. I don't know, like, she knows everything. So I just whisper, like, I'm not trying to be mean. It's just like, we just have this like unspoken sisterhood thing between us. So we like intentionally like turn, hey, welcome to the group. Come hang out with us. Come out with us. Like almost go overboard because we never want any other woman to feel that they can't come into our space.
That's the energy I've been trying to cultivate for the last, like, I don't know, 6 years or so that I've been doing. Like, I worked in a couple of schools. I guess more than that. I guess about the last 10 years. The last 10 years, I really have been trying to cultivate that. And running not-for-profits and the homeschool co-ops and everything. That is the energy. Like, come in, like, be part of the circle. Because I know me and Mandy, because we run the co-op together, like, I think people think that of us. Like, we just kind of have, like, our own language, right? Like, because we're just talking about, like, we know all the things. But we try so hard to, like, be super welcoming. And that's kind of, I'm the ambassador. I'm the, forward-facing one. And that's the energy I come with. Like, no, come, like, join, be a part of this. Like, we will hold you. We've got you.
Yes, you're not alone. And that's so important because so many women, when you talk about like going, I mean, I do it. I feel like I'm pretty confident and pretty confident in my skin. But walking into the ecstatic dance, I was there like 10 minutes before you, and I'm like, oh, where's my sidekick? Okay, and I just kind of like sat down, and then someone came over and then like brought me up, introduced me, which was really nice. But that was so nice. It was actually a man to come over and go, hey, welcome. Who are you? Come over here and meet the DJ. That was really nice. But I pick out the person in the room where I'm like, she looks nervous. So I thrive in that moment. But in the moment, I was the nervous one. So to have someone come over and do that is just, it's life-changing. It could be life-changing. I mean, you can make a best friend by going over and saying, hey, are you new here?
Yeah. And for those of us that carry these deep sister wounds, that can feel so scary, though, because you were saying something when you were talking about like your experience with your sister that just like clicked for me that I'd never thought of before. My mom and her sister had a complete falling out when she was pregnant with me.
Oh.
They don't talk. They haven't really talked since, except to fight at my grandma's funeral.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering that sister wound could have started in the womb for me, I mean, that was my mom and her sister had a complete break in their relationship while I was gestating. So
wow. Well,
that's deep.
I hope that this wound for you has been well healed, if not healed completely. Obviously, I know that's a lot to say, but I hope that it feels better.
It does. And the culmination of that is now to be able to give back to my community of sisters and to teach this. So it's been a lot of work for me. It's been a lot of learning and unlearning and unpacking and going into like the grief and the depths of it, the darkness of it, and really unpacking all of that. And it's
That's
like
really
it's
brave.
culminating. It takes bravery, because it'd be a lot easier to hide and to just say, I just get along with guys better.
Yeah.
But it's been so fulfilling, and this is the thing. I think because of that deep need for community, it fulfills something on just such a primitive level, on such a like biological level, to come together with women in this way, that it's so deeply healing and so deeply fulfilling, that it's worth all of that. It's worth dealing with your personal shame and those dark feelings.
And I think even more so now, which is what you and I are working really, we work hard on, is creating that in-person community too. Because as mothers, I know as a single mom, I don't get out and do stuff. I mean, I do with my kid, I do with my sisters, but actually getting out and meeting new people and doing things like that's why I'm really glad that I'm coaching, because I'm meeting these new friends, So that's important. So, for listeners, get out.
Yeah.
Call a friend. Go have a glass of wine. Go for a walk. Something. It's
I've
so
been
good for you.
facilitating. Yeah, I've been facilitating moms nights out, away from the kids.
Yeah.
Not kid centric,
Yeah.
not kid
Yeah.
based. But I've been facilitating moms night out in my homeschool community for the last 5 years now. We do it quarterly, and that's been really great. It's been really great to make connections with moms that maybe I wouldn't necessarily have, like, different, lot younger. We have some like moms in their 20s in our group that it's like, might not have necessarily like gone after that friendship,
Yeah.
but to have that bonding time and to really to create that sense of community has been really, really awesome. We do all kinds of fun stuff too, like art classes and tie-dye parties and going out for sushi.
Okay, well, I'm ready. I'm ready to come to the next one. My daughter's almost 6, so I can stay out till like 10 o'clock.
We can't.
Let's
We
party.
can't. 10 o'clock. I'll be so tired.
Oh, okay, okay, good. So like 9 o'clock. When I
No,
left,
these are like 5:30 to like
Oh, okay.
9.
Okay.
Like.
when I left the ecstatic dance, it was still light out, and I come out and I'm like, so that was like clubbing without alcohol, and it's still light out. Okay, I'm still making it home in time for like a late dinner, get my kid, go home and go to bed. Well, this is new.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Mom life.
Yeah, but it's good.
Well, and so that brings me to what we are doing with the Sister Circle. And we have, so Shellbe and I have created this online community. We've only launched it recently, and there's not a whole lot of us in there. So it's really like grassroots. It's really like building. If anybody is interested in joining us in that, we're there to uplift each other. And we're also there to create that community. And we have people from all over the world that are in there. And then we have a good amount of locals, which is cool. We're talking about doing in person in November. But our next circle that's coming up is the equinox circle. So we did a summer solstice circle for our first one, and we did feminine embodiment. And for the fall equinox, we are doing releasing the sister wound, so rewriting the sister wound. And I'm going to do a little writing salon, lead people in writing exercise and release. So a release of what's not serving us. Equinox is a really good time to let go of things that aren't serving us. And so kind of rewriting this sister wound and retelling that story and releasing stories that don't serve us in our female relationships anymore. So that's open, that's free and open, and you just have to reach out to me or to Shellbe, and we'll get you the link to that.
That sounds really amazing. So I am at Vital Roots Coaching, and I'm sure you're going to add the links in the show notes, right? So how you usually do it? Okay,
Yep,
so
I sure will. And I'm at
Instagram.
Nicole Desiree Goff.
Oh,
So yeah, I
switched
changed
it up.
it.
Switched it up.
I did. Yeah,
I love it.
my middle
Good.
name.
I love it. Yeah, so Vital Roots Coaching on Facebook and Instagram, and the Sisterhood Circle feels really nice. I really enjoy that. So come join us.
Yep. Well,
Thank you for having
Shellbe,
me.
anything else you want to leave the audience with?
Something super
We'll
cheesy
link-
just crossed my mind.
Do it.
Just give somebody a hug.
Just reach out. Just reach out. Like, there's so many of us, I feel like, have such a shell, like a protective coating and armoring that goes up. And, it's just like an icebreaker. Like, take somebody reaching out and like extending themselves out, in a hug.
Yeah, like
whatever.
you share someone's energy when you hug them. And I've always been like, I joke when I hug, I'm like, come on, bring it in. Get closer. Come on, bring your butt in. You gotta like get in here for the hug. There you go. Okay. And then the person's super awkward and they're like, let me go. You smell like patchouli. No. No. But it's so nice. It's so nice. So yeah. Go hug somebody today.
Yeah.
Cheese
And we'll
ball.
link. Yeah. No, I feel it. Virtual hugs.
It's what came to mind. That's where there you go.
Yeah. I know, that's one of those things about doing all the online stuff. I'm like, always after a podcast interview, I'm like, oh, I want to give you a real hug.
I know. I know.
I'll share that energy. But
I know.
yeah.
And then just be kind. I mean, this is so cliche and everyone says it, but be kind because you never know what someone's going through. I mean, I share that with some of my friends / clients. Sometimes I'm like, you think I'm perfect? Do Do you know what because, a lot of my coaching is food. I've been a vegetarian, vegan for a long time. I feed my kid really clean. And so we talk about that a lot. And I'm like, let me tell you what I have for dinner. Tortilla chips. Might have had some salsa. It was clean, had no extra stuff in it, but I had tortilla chips for dinner. Like, I'm not perfect over here, So, like, you never know what someone's going through. So give them a hug, be kind, just say hi. So thanks for having me. I always love talking to you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you for coming on. It was so nice. Let's not be podcast strangers. I like having you as my sometimes co-host.
I love it. I'm honored. Thank you.
All right, everybody. We will talk again soon. Join us for the Sister Circle.
Okay, bye.
Bye.